Test, test, test. How's this sound?
Test, test.
I sound good. I sound amazing. How do you sound?
I think you sound pretty good. Now that we know that we sound good.
Welcome to Millionaire University, where you earn dollar bills, not A's and B's. Here are your hosts, Justin Williams and me, Tara Lee.
You're so sexy.
Thank you. Justin, focus. What are we going to talk about today?
Today, we're going to help you come up with your big idea, the product or service that is going to put you on the map, that is going to help you make the mega millions, that is going to give you financial independence and help you live a rich life of abundance.
Wow, that is a lot of pressure.
And bring world peace to the world.
That is a lot of pressure. I hope you have some really good ideas to figuring this out because, wow. So basically, we came up with 6 different ways to come up with your big idea. You only need one, but we gave you 6, so you're welcome.
We're very kind. So number 1, go with your gut. A lot of times people will come to us and they already have an idea. That might be you. So many people have ideas. They just haven't implemented that idea. They haven't sold that idea. They haven't brought it to life. So if you already have a big idea, don't overanalyze this. Go with the thing that you want to do. And once again, a lot of times people get worked up and they think, oh, I need to do all this product research. And at Millionaire University, one of the things we teach is you don't need to take a ton of time figuring out what it is that you want to do. Now, if you're going to start this huge startup and raise $100 million and come up with a 200-page business plan, then yes, you're going to need to do more product research ahead of time. But for us, what we like to do is we like to figure out the thing that we're going to do. We like to start selling that thing right away. And that is your product research. Also, if you pick something that someone else is already doing something similar to, great. That's your product research because
it's working.
Yeah, it's already working. There's your product research. They're selling it. It's working for them. And the truth is, to us, it's usually more of a marketing and sales message. I can't tell you how many businesses that we've started or tried to start, and at the beginning it was off. And we easily could have been like, oh, the market research didn't work, or no one wants this thing because they're not buying it.
It's not going the way we planned. It must be the market. It must be our product. It must be something. It's always been our need to sell it better.
We got to tweak something, and then all of a sudden, oh, that worked. I mean, it seems like every business we start, it takes us a good several months before we really start to see traction in sales. Not that we can get any sales at all, but that's usually about what it takes. But the key is figure out what product you're going to sell and try to figure it out quickly. Like, how fast do you think it should take to figure out your product or your idea?
I would give yourself 1 to 2 weeks.
No, that's way too long.
Okay, I would give yourself 2 days.
No, way too long.
Okay, 5 minutes.
At first, I was thinking 24 to 48 hours, but now I'm like, give yourself an hour. If you already know what it is, good. Write that down.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
So I think you could easily make a decision on, I can make money selling this product in an hour. I think the hardest part is, do I want to commit to this business for the rest of my life?
Dun, dun, dun.
How do you handle that?
So yes, first of all, let me clarify. Come up with the thing that you want to do. You might know it right now, or you might take the next hour or two going through this podcast and then going through some of the steps that we're going to talk to you about. And then come up with that thing, write it down, plan on doing that thing. But if you sleep on it and you think of something else, that's fine. That's the whole point of this is, unlike school, you have to decide what you want to do when you're 8 years old. Okay, not really. But you have to decide what you want to do. And then you go and study that thing for many years. And then what happens if you change your mind?
All this time and money wasted, and you feel like a failure, really.
Totally. Or you have the golden handcuffs and you hate what you do. Our philosophy is, if you change your mind in a week, it doesn't matter. You can change your mind anytime. Write down the thing that you want to do. Go with your gut. If you change your mind, change it at any time. Now, there's a difference between being fickle and not being focused and not being committed and changing your mind. Because some people, they get excited with the idea. There's dopamine release or some kind of chemical that's released when we just think about ideas and we get excited about ideas. So you want to make sure you're not doing that. My point is, you can come up with your idea and you can easily pivot, change it up, adapt as you go. That's why I say give yourself less time. Because if you take a week or 2 or 3 or a month or a few months to come up with your idea, you're really just stalling.
There's a fine line between squirrel moments where you're doing your business and you get into it and you go, oh, this is hard. I should try something else. Usually that's a squirrel moment. You're just afraid of doing the hard work. Every business is challenging. Every business has its obstacles. But there's also a fine line between pivoting because there's a better situation, a better option, a different thing that you want to sell in a different way. And so the goal is to take action quickly so you can start to learn the difference between squirrel moments and intentional, intelligent pivot.
Yes. She's amazing. Isn't she amazing, folks? Give her a round. Let's give her a round of applause. Okay, so once again, the first one is go with your gut, aka you probably already have an idea. You probably already have something that you're passionate about, that you're thinking about, an idea that you've had in the past. But go with your gut. If you have an idea, write it down, get to work, skip the rest of this episode, go to episode 4, and you need to start selling the HE double hockey sticks, because hockey sticks are important in business.
That is
you want
symbolic.
the hockey stick effect.
I like that.
So start selling the hockey sticks out of that thing. Let's go.
Okay, number 2.
So what, you just say the number and I have to say the thing, or what is that?
No.
Wow, Tara. At least say it in Spanish.
Numero 2.
Muy bien, muy bien.
Okay, I'll say it. Ready?
Yeah,
Number
right,
2.
go.
If your gut is not telling you what to do, you're going to have to get a little more creative, which is simply write a bunch of things down on a piece of paper that you're interested in. What are your strengths? What are the experiences that you've had? What are the things that you've studied? Your past or current job, sports you played, things you've collected. What are you into?
Boom. So like Tara said, take a piece of paper and on one side, write all the things that you're good at, that you have experience in. And the other side, write all the things that you are interested in. And then what things on your list match up. So if there's something that you are good at and you're interested in, then that's where I would go. Because one of the keys to being successful in your business is to remove as much friction points as you possibly can. So if you're already familiar with something, that's going to save you so much time. And if you're passionate about something, it goes without saying, you're going to be a lot more excited. Take us, for example. What is one of the things I enjoy more than anything?
You love to teach. You love to talk about business. You love business.
I love Tara. Besides Tara. Yeah. I love talking about business. So if we were doing a podcast on fixing house items,
on fixing things around the house, that podcast would be really boring because you wouldn't have much to say about it because mostly that's my job.
Oh, well, it'd be really boring, but I wouldn't be compelled to do it. So once again, this doesn't have to be overly complicated. And then once you've narrowed it down to anywhere from 1 to 3 topics, then just start searching. I mean, don't take for granted what we have. You can look up any topic and find out so much information about it. So once you come with that topic, do a search in Google, look on YouTube, look up different podcasts, look at different people who have businesses that are similar to that topic.
So for example, something I've really struggled with is my mental health. That doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound right, does it? But it doesn't feel right, I'll tell you what. So I've had to learn all kinds of things about mental health, mindset, anxiety, depression, panic attacks, all these things I've struggled with. And I really fell in love with that space. And so I've done some coaching around that. It wasn't something I was necessarily interested in or wanted to have to go into, but I did, fell in love with it, and I've done some work in that space. And so sometimes it can even come from your weakness, not necessarily your strength.
And how cool is that? I mean, that was a hard time, but you took that weakness and you turned it into a strength. That's super cool. That actually leads us into number 3. Pick a skill or a topic and spend a lot of time studying and becoming familiar with that topic. And then you can teach that thing to other people. So for Tara, she learned a lot about depression and panic attack.
And anxiety. All those fun things.
As she learned about those things, she was able to overcome those things. And then naturally, she was able to teach people about those things. I think after this year, you and I could be marriage counselors.
I think so.
As well.
That's been an area of weakness we really had to learn a lot about.
So. We've had to study that a lot, right? And now there are days where I think we need therapy, and there are days when I think we could give therapy.
What's today?
I think we're doing pretty good today. I would say today's like
today's a great day.
An 8.5.
Yes. Yes. That's
pretty
what I'm
good.
talking about.
Could be a little better, but it's been pretty good. Like,
okay.
Last week, a couple days, we were like, oh man, we cannot do this podcast. You have to get along to do a podcast. And then we decided, we're like, okay, we realized this is miserable. And so we got along.
That's the great thing about having a business is it forces you to change into the person you really want to become because you're very highly motivated. It's something you want to do. You're providing for your family. And so it really forces you to be the person you really want to be. And I have changed so much through having a business. It's one of the intangible things people don't really talk about, but it is true.
Just don't change anymore because I think you're perfect just the way you are.
I'm sure. Even though I got an 8.5, that's perfect.
No, you didn't get an 8.5. I was thinking that I could have been a little more something today.
That gives you something. Now you get a 10. 10 for you.
Oh, hooray. We'll come back to this podcast in just a little bit. Oh, we're going to continue. Okay. Yeah. To continue with number 3, pick a topic or skill and spend some time becoming really good at that. Who are some people, Tara, that you know of who have done this.
Oh, I'm thinking about your sister with Janela Bay. She really loved sewing and making swimsuits. And so she started to create these swimsuits, and they have a full-blown, a very successful online business selling modest swimsuits. It's incredible. With
Online
just a small interest she was into.
And brick and mortar. I mean, they have
that's right.
like 7 or 8 physical locations as well.
Yep.
Yeah, they've absolutely killed it. That's a great example. Another one is a book I recently read by a guy named James Clear. What's cool is James Clear actually started his online business about the same time as we started ours. So we're kind of in like similar circles and we knew some of the same people. But he recently wrote a book called Atomic Habits. Many of you have probably heard of it or read it. But he twice a week started blogging about habits. That's what he blogged about.
His whole career is built on teaching people about habits.
So he learned a ton about habits, started blogging on it, and then he's been able to write a book and create a very successful business around the topic of habit. Who else?
I mean, we're all familiar with Brene Brown. She spends her whole career talking about vulnerability, researching vulnerability. I mean, it's incredible.
You got Russell Brunson. He's the funnel guy. John Lee Dumas, podcasting. Another thing I would recommend, if someone doesn't know what business they want to start and they like marketing, I would recommend they pick a marketing niche and get really good at that. And then they use that as their business. So in this instance, like you pick the thing and you actually, this time you would have to study it a little bit more. But if you study, for example, what's a marketing niche that someone could study for 2 weeks and become an expert in?
I mean, maybe you could become a website builder. You're not totally sure what you want to commit to as a career or something for the next few years or however long you do want to do it. You pick a skill instead. I'm going to build websites. I'm going to market that skill, become really good at that as I'm trying to decide what business I really want to take on the long term.
Now, the cool thing is to build a website, like Tara has built several websites. These days, you don't have to know how to code, right? Like, because some people who build websites, that's what they do, right? So some people out there who know how to code, like, oh, that takes a long time to learn how to code and stuff like that. But you don't have to. Another thing is like a YouTube ads expert, for example. Like if someone were to study YouTube ads for literally like a week, like if you took like 40 hours or maybe 2 weeks and took 80 hours of studying YouTube ads, you would know more about YouTube ads than like 99.9% of the world. And then what you could do is you could go to anyone, like even myself, and you could say, hey, can I try this out? And maybe you offer to work for them for free for a couple of weeks to see if you can get a result. And then those people will pay you. And then once you get paid by one person, you can work for multiple people and you could literally start your own agency that could be up and running within a month or two. Or you could take those skills and you could apply it to your own business. You could literally take any kind of physical product or any kind of educational product or any software, and you can sell it based on these marketing skills that you've learned. Or maybe you decide to take another 2 weeks and learn another marketing niche, and you continue to grow that way.
Yeah, you can stack your skills if you learn how to build websites or do paid advertising or whatever it is. These skills that you're learning, they're not a waste of time. They're very valuable skills. And then you can stack those skills and apply them in your own business. So it's a smart tactic if you're not totally sure what business you want to dive into.
Okay, number 4. What is a tool or service or product that you really like, but you think it could be better? So for example, if there's a software that you use on a regular basis, but maybe you feel like there could be some improvements. The other day I was talking to my brother, who's a partner in the Janela Bay business that we were talking about. They use Shopify every day in their business. And while he likes some things about it, there's some things he really wishes that it had or some things that it could do better. And so he was trying to convince us to create a new Shopify with some of the new and improved features that he feels like it needs. Now, we don't currently have time for that, but maybe one of you can run with it. And he'll be your first customer. Just reach out to me if you need his number. Trey, who's a software developer and one of our current partners in our software company that does review automation, the other day he mentioned that there are some improvements he'd like to make to Slack. And I don't know if you guys know, but Slack recently sold for a whopping $27.7 billion with a B dollars to Salesforce.
Wow.
So if Trey thinks there could be some improvements made, cha-ching. And the cool thing is you don't have to create a company that's worth $27.7 billion. You just have to get enough people to sign up or enough people to buy your product that help support your lifestyle. I know we talked about Janela Bay a couple times, but my sister, she saw a problem with swimsuits. She couldn't find any modest swimsuits that she felt were also cute and fashionable. So she decided to start making them, and now her and her husband have a multi-million-dollar business selling modest swimsuits. Changing the world one modest swimsuit at a time.
Speaking of swimsuits, I mean, you think about it, one of the most basic things, cookies and swimsuits go together really well.
They do.
They took
you
cookies.
Look good in your swimsuit when you eat cookies.
They took cookies, modified them, made them extra delicious and deliverable, and that company Crumble is killing it.
They are killing it. And then other companies saw what Crumble was doing and they probably thought, hey, I can make this better.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe not quite as good, but still make some money from it. I don't know. Right?
Or you can be in a certain industry. So for example, when I met Justin, he was selling satellite dish network door to door. He didn't necessarily change a product, but he decided he wanted to own his own business. And that's the first business that we started together. And so we thought we could sell this better. We could do this better. And we started a business on our own.
What's funny is the name of the first company we started, you remember what that was called?
Getaway.
Getaway Marketing. And our goal is not to sell Dish Network. Remember, I was working for those guys, going to like amusement parks and the basketball games and the movie theaters and trade shows and getting people to go to timeshare presentations. And I was in charge of organizing people to go. We were in charge because once we got married, like you helped me out. We were in charge of organizing the people to go, but we didn't really like working for these guys. We thought, we could do this way better. But then we ended up not doing that business. So we had to change our name and get a DBA to Ion Satellite. Fun times, memory lane.
One of the pivotal moments that was really important. Pivots, guys, important.
And then take Millionaire University, for example. How did Millionaire University start, Tara?
We saw a problem, we had a need, and we decided to do something about it to improve upon the current education system that is out there.
Well, I realized I was complaining about the college education system like a lot. It may have ruined some of my trips. Let's just say some of the debates I get into with people about college and what a waste I think it is get pretty intense because people are pretty attached to college. But I recognized that it wasn't doing it. And a lot of people are starting to see that, I think. So then we started looking into options online. And there's a lot of people out there that are selling a lot of things, but none of them really fit what we were looking for.
The online world can be really daunting, and no one is really taking you down this path. And we also have kids who will be graduating from high school soon. And we're asking ourselves, do we send them to college to waste their time and money? Or do we send them to the online world where it's really daunting and they'll just get overwhelmed and not know what to do?
So we felt like there were some semi-good options out there. But the truth is, most of the people that I was seeing were kind of trying to put you into a box that fit what they were trying to sell you. So our goal with Millionaire University is to help people figure out what it is that they want to do and then help keep them going on that path. So once again, think of a product, a service, something that you use, a tool, anything that you feel like could be improved upon. And that could be your big idea. We need you. Now get going. All right, numero cinco.
Number 5 is, okay, I don't know what I want to do. I'm not sure where to start. I'm not totally sure what I'm interested in. Then guys, just Google it. I remember when we had one of our businesses pretty streamlined. Justin had some free time on his hands. He'd been surfing and he realized he was bored out of his mind, even though he thought that was his dream. And he wanted to learn about online marketing. And one day he figured out that there are these things called a podcast.
Ta-da.
Ta-da.
Someone told me about one and I was like, oh, let's check this out.
So we started listening to all of these podcasts, and I cannot tell you how excited he was. He would come out of the office like, Tara, there are people online telling you exactly what they're doing in their businesses. And he just was listening to podcast after podcast after podcast. You can get so many ideas. He was obsessed.
So literally go to Google what are some different business ideas out there. Now be careful. You might come across some shisty people trying to sell you a get rich quick thing or something like that. There's a lot of great information out there. The online world is not what it used to be many, many years ago.
You can read blogs, check out YouTube, check out podcasts. There's amazing information about different opportunities that are available now.
And just listen to what different people are doing in their business and write 20 to 50 different things that different people are doing and see if something stands out to you.
Okay, last but not least is number 6. Now, this one we say with a little bit of hesitation and a little bit of caution, but it can be very helpful if you know how to do it the right way. Number 6 is ask people that you know, maybe someone in your family, someone in your community, ask them about a business that they already have or are doing well in or they have been successful in. The reason why we say be careful with this is because sometimes people's opinions can be strong and they can be off. But it can be an amazing thing to ask someone who is in an industry that you're interested in, what's it like? How did you get there? What are you doing that's working well? What's the lifestyle?
Yeah, I remember when we first got married, that guy that went to our church, I didn't know a lot of people that owned a business at that time. And I just wanted to pick his brain. I just wanted to get to know him and know what he did. And I was so fascinated. I just wanted to learn everything that I could from him. Now, once again, be careful about this one because a lot of people, they might be a little jaded, if they've already been doing that for a while, or maybe it's not totally working for them or going the right way. And I'd be like, oh, the market or this or that. Keep that in mind. Everyone's experience is going to be very unique to them. The truth is, I'm pretty confident that Tara and I could be successful in any business, in any industry, in any part of the world, doing just about anything. I'd put my money on other people who have been successful as well over the specific industry. Like the reason an industry is because somebody has been successful creating a business in that category. So that can be you. It's just a matter of finding the right angle and going about it the right way.
It's like 9 or 9.9 times out of 10. It's not usually the product or the market that's a problem. It's the person selling it. They don't know how to sell it. And usually the problem is they're not selling it correctly or even selling it at all.
So the truth is that person might give you the answer without realizing they're giving you the answer. Because if you hear something they're talking about, they're like, oh, I could do it differently, then that might be your answer.
All right, just remember, you don't want this to take very long. You can pivot if you don't want to do it forever and ever, but pick, commit, and go for it.
So let's go ahead and do a quick recap, shall we? Number 1, just go with your gut. If you already have an idea, don't overthink it. Remember, ideas are great, but they're a dime a dozen. It's all about the implementation. Get out there, make it happen, come up with your minimal viable product, and start selling.
Number 2, on a piece of paper, write down your strengths and things that you're interested in. See what overlaps, see where you want to go, and see what's already pulling you.
Number 3, pick a skill or a topic that you think you could be interested in. Really dive into it, study it as much as you can for a week or 2. And then an instance of if it's like a marketing skill, you can do that marketing for someone else and then build out from there, or you can do it for your own product or service.
Number 4, figure out a tool, service, or product that you can improve and make better.
Number 5, ask Google. She knows everything. Okay, maybe not everything, but it's a great resource for gathering information.
And number 6, pick the brain of other successful people who have businesses that you are interested in. Pick the brain. What's it like? What's their lifestyle? What's it all about?
And either they like it and you're going to go with it, or you're going to hear things that they don't like about it and you're like, that's where I can improve it. Thank you very much. Phew.
Woo.
Okay. All right. And that brings us to the end of today's podcast, helping you come up with your big idea, the product or service that you are going to put out to the world. Okay. Wait, call me crazy, but I want to give them one more thing. You good at that, Tara? You okay?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, what is it?
This is an idea that I've had for a long time. And I think this would be the perfect time to put it together and just give it away. So as you know, we're always coming up with business ideas, but we can't do all of them. What if we were to put all those ideas together in a document and include it in the free training that we're giving away?
I love it. Are you thinking like 10, 20? How many?
Oh, Tara. No. Thinking like 100.
Yes, let's do it.
Now, so some of them might be ideas and then other ones topics, but the whole idea is just to get people's brains going. We can't do all these, so may as well share them.
Share them with the world.
Abundance, baby. That's what it's all about. So yeah, we'll just put that together and drop it in the free training at millionaireuniversity.com/training. Take them, steal them. It's ethical stealing. We've given you permission. It's all good.